People will always object to the idea of them being creator God, of them being source, because that is really almost impossible to fathom while we are locked into this limited dimension that limits our memory, it limits our perception and our scope of perception. We can't see past the firmament, the ceiling that this earth dimension has put us under, right? So people have trouble with the idea that they are source God consciousness, that they are God. Because as a friend recently said, I cannot create a single grain of wheat. No, you can't. Not in your human dimension, right? But we limit ourselves. Actually, not we limit ourselves. We have been limited to only be able to perceive from our humanness. We are a creation walking upon another creation, earth. And we do not remember in our human state, in our human dimension, what it was like to be source, what it was like to be the Om, what it was like to be the Word, what it was like to be the vibration that created everything. We don't remember it because dimensionally we are so far removed from that origin point. Yet you are origin. You are that origin point. You just don't have the capacity in your human limitation to imagine it, to remember it. You did, in fact, create every grain of wheat. You did, in fact, create every tree. You just don't remember because you have your memory has been wiped. Your memory has been wiped. God wiped his own memory, put himself, itself, herself, itself, into creation, infused itself into creation and forgot. That's one way of perceiving it. And that's the one I'm speaking to here, with our problem of imagining, knowing that we are God. How could we be God, being these fragile, bleeding humans, right? Well, the life of Jesus is a very good example of that. He declared himself to be God, and yet he still bled when they nailed him to the cross. As a human, we can be God, we can be a light body and still bleed. We can be a light body and still experience death. That is the multidimensional nature of our beingness, of what we are, right? We're not just this three-dimensional physical body. We are God's source. It's like, this is so hard to explain, it's like the doctors, the scientists, that take the brain and try to dissect it to find consciousness in the brain. You can't find it in the physical organ. And yet consciousness comes through that physical organ of the brain, right? You're both. You are the brain, and you're the consciousness that comes through the brain. You're everything. But our human dimension limits us from remembering that. And that is what makes this human life so difficult, because we're in the amnesia and don't know who we are. We feel a victim to life's circumstances. But we're not victims. We are source God, wanting to experience itself in all kinds of human possibilities. Even though you don't remember having created anything of this, having created this beautiful earth, If you need a biblical reference, it's in the book of Job. Might have been in chapter 38, where God speaks about the morning star angels that created everything. You are one of those morning star angels that created the universes and everything in it. You can think of it as source first splitting itself and manifesting as angles of light, angels, angles of light and frequency and energy, and they split themselves again and created stars, planets, universes, and the stars split themselves again and they created Earth and the matter that is on Earth and everything. It's like an atom that splits and splits and splits and splits. But the source energy remains in every molecule. The only thing that blocks this are the stages of the different dimensions. With each split, we create another dimension. We go to another dimension. And so we are the creation of our own design. Okay, I gotta come and land this plane. Does any of this make sense? Do not take the fact that you can't remember any of that as the truth. You're still waking up from the amnesia of realizing who you really are. Just because you can stub your toe, or like me, cut my cheek on a garbage can, that doesn't mean I'm not God. God is experiencing everything, including the cutting of the cheek. Anyways, I hope this makes some sense to some.